Okay, well, we're live. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Zobiba Published TV, and I am Yvette Johnston, author, publisher, and host of this program. I tried to get this thing done yesterday, and I don't know what happened. Anyway, welcome to Zobiba Published TV, where we talk about matters of publishing, and matters of publishing will include journalizing, writing, editing, storytelling, decision making, and all the skills included in the matters of publishing. You will get to know the other side of me, as most people are familiar with just the spiritual side of me. Well, there is always two sides to a story and two sides to every individual: your good side and your not so good side, your left side and your right side, your very influential side and your not so influential side, your pessimistic side and your optimistic side. Now, I do not believe that any individual is purely optimistic or pessimistic. I personally don't believe it. Okay? There is a balance that you can find in people if you know how to bring the best attributes and reserve the not so best ones. All right? These are not as good as the best ones. I personally do not believe that any individual is a bad person. I just personally don't believe that. Okay? Why do I say this? This is because no one was created by the Creator to be bad. He didn't create any bad thing. He did not create some as good and some as bad. Okay? Everything He created was good. Otherwise, He would not have said He was pleased with this creation. Okay? All right. So it is just a matter of people being influenced in a bad way. And this influence has derived from people sliding or stepping off the path they were created to be traveling on. So here's a question: how can I influence you this morning? I can influence you to write a book. Well, yes, because I'm a published author. So I can influence you to write a book. I can influence you to write something about yourself. Tell a story about your experiences or one experience, that you've had in life. Read about something that affected you and you made good out of that situation. So, I taught women in leadership at a newcomer center for almost 2 years. So, these are immigrant women. And the lady who actually listened to my story did not she did not finish hearing the whole story because the story was too long. So she didn't finish hearing the whole story, but she asked me, "How many workshops can you create?" So she wanted me to create the workshops for her women in leadership class. I told her I would create two workshops. Okay, so I started with two workshops. The two I began with were transforming women in leadership, and then the next one was from there to here. Let me talk about from there to here, right? Because that was the first one I actually taught. From there to here spoke precisely to my evolution from being a disabled person after a motor vehicle accident, not being able to walk for 4 years, not being able to use my right arm because of a rotator cuff tear, right? But I evolved from the state of being a disabled person to a published author, writing my first book with my left hand. Okay, so that's a miracle, right? And I wrote Poetic Masterpiece Volume 1. That's my first poetry book that I wrote. And that was in 2015. So it was published May 2015. So this book allowed me to speak to the situations in people's lives. So while it was a book of therapy for me, both mentally and emotionally, it was a book of prophetic poetry for other people. And I've seen some of those or most of those um, things come true. Okay, so I've really seen them realized. Okay, you have no idea who you will influence with your writing. Okay, you have no idea who you will influence with your writing. Who is my influencer? My creator. That's my influencer. Now, here's my question: who is your influence, or who is the influential person in your life? Now, the workshop from there to here was influenced by Poetic Masterpiece Volume 1, right? After I wrote Poetic Masterpiece Volume 1, then I basically created this workshop. This one was created especially for the women in leadership, right? And they were immigrant women. I used the workshop to influence the young women in leadership to write their own poetry. So people who told me there were people from India, from Africa, from so many different countries, like they were from different countries. But what they told me was, I don't write poetry. I've never written poetry. And what I told them was, because I learned this at University of Windsor, where I did publishing and editing, I told them you can write 4 lines and 4 lines of your own. That's your own poetry. Okay. I also told them when they said I couldn't write, I can't write anything. There's nothing that I can write. I've never done this before. I said, if you can add 4 ingredients to a recipe, it becomes yours. Okay. So if you can add 4 ingredients to a recipe, it's your recipe. It's your original recipe. You can put your name on that. They didn't know that. Okay. So what I influenced them to do was to write poetry, recipes, short stories, and I published the book for them. That they don't know as yet. But when I got my publishing status in Canada, I decided, okay, I'm going to publish this book, and I will let them know at the right time. So they did something they did not know that they could have done. Okay. And many times there are things that we don't think that we can actually do until we find an influencer or someone who is influential enough to tell us that, yes, you can do it. And if you try it, you will get it done. Okay. So my influence on them sent waves of encouragement that drew them into the classroom of creativity. Well, here is a challenge, a question that I want to ask you, the listeners. Who influences you? Who is your influencer? Who is your influencer? Who is your influential person? Who is the influential person in your life? Okay? So, who influences you? The next thing is, who is your influencer? Depending on how you want to answer it. Who do you influence? Okay? And is your influence a good or bad connotation in people's lives? I hope you have influenced someone in your life that you can actually talk about, right? And I hope I have influenced you in some way to start the journey of being a good influencer. Then you will increase yourself to the position of being a better influencer to a great influencer. All right. No, what does this have to do with publishing? It's the matters of publishing. And we're influenced by the people who help us in life, the people who have made a difference in our lives, right? And to be honest with you, Marty Gervais was an influential person to me. He was my professor, editing and publishing professor at University of Windsor. And the reason why I said he was influential to me is because when I showed up there at University of Windsor and I had a talk with him, he saw my the two books that I wrote, right? So the first book, Poetic Masterpiece Volume 1 and Poetic Masterpiece Volume 2. So Poetic Masterpiece Volume 1, I wrote that with my totally with my left hand, totally with my left hand. And I am not ambidextrous. Okay? Never used my left hand to do work like that before. And then Poetic Masterpiece Volume 2, I started with my left hand and I finished with my right hand when I got healed. Now, when he looked at the books, he was surprised. He was amazed that someone could have written a book of this magnitude, like so many chapters, so many pages, right, with my left hand. And yes, I did with my left hand. I did. I don't know if I could do it again. Well, you know, if the situation arise, maybe it could happen again, right? But I don't know that I could have done something like that without the help of Almighty God, my creator. Okay? So that's what happened and he accepted me in fourth year publishing and editing at University of Windsor. Fourth year. So basically in my first year of school, I was accepted in fourth year editing and publishing. That's amazing. But because he saw the books that I've written, right, and published. You see, so see why you should write? That's the reason why you should write. Because you never know who's going to see your work. He's a publisher, poet laureate in Windsor for many years. If you walk into Windsor, Ontario, and you mention Marty Gervais, everybody knows exactly who he is, right? He has his publishing company. He was chief editor at the Windsor's, with the Windsor Star. And I did work with him at the Windsor Review Publishing. No, it's amazing how, we can meet people in life and we don't even know who we're meeting. Important people. Just like how you are such an important person and you might not even know it. You might not even be aware of it, right? But until somebody says something to you, you think, okay, well, I didn't know I was so important. Ooh, well, yes, you are. So, and I didn't know that people call published authors celebrities. I said, "Oh my goodness, you mean I'm a ooh ooh?" Anyway, you know what? It does happen in life, right? That sometimes people have to remind us of who we are. Sometimes they make us aware of who we are. And though we carry so many gifts inside of us, so many skills and our creativity and all that, we don't know you know, how important we are to society because people get to read our books, they get to use them in schools, they used to get to use them in the libraries, and we don't know how important we are. Okay, so if you're a writer, if you're a publisher, if you're an editor, I just if you do creative designs for books, I just want to just lift you up today and let you know how important you are. Keep up the good work. Keep on doing what you're doing because we need you. The world need your creativity. You know, we get book covers. I make my own book covers. I like to make my own book covers, especially from scratch. I like to do that because I get to say what I want to say on the cover, right? And sometimes I'll use other book covers and then, basically make changes. But I like to make my own book covers, right? For the people who work on these things, I just want to say with your graphic designing skills and all that, I just want to say, I lift you up today because you don't know how important you are to society. You are important. And if nobody has ever told you that before, I am telling you, you are important. Okay? All right. So, and you are an influencer because people are using your books, people are using your designs, people are using your creativity, people are using your wisdom, right? And you don't even know you lend your wisdom to somebody else and they put it on the cover of their book or your, whatever way it gets out there, but people are using them. And so I just want to let you know how important you are today. Okay, we're dealing with matters of publishing. And last week and the week before, I basically spoke about, journalizing. This week is just matters of publishing. So many things that we do when we're publishing books, so many things that we do. And I didn't know that it entails all of this. But I did publishing at University of Windsor, right? That was a part of my class. So I got the feel of it and we published books and had book launch. I've done book launch myself, my own personal book launch for Poetic Masterpiece Books, the series. And it's good. It's good. It's good to get to talk to people, meet people. I have book signings and it's good. I've met people from Australia, South Africa, Johannesburg, all over the place, Austria. I've met people from all over the place. And it is so exciting to see that, people wanted to meet you, especially the fact that I have such a story where I couldn't walk. And then now I'm walking around and, they see me walking in heels and standing up there for like 2 hours, for a book signing. And they're thinking, oh my God, is that her? So someone one time said, "You're a goddess." I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Yes, you are." I said, "No, I'm not a goddess." He said, "Oh, yes, you are." Because nobody touched you and you are walking again. Well, you know what? I didn't do it on my own. It's a miracle. And God is good. That's all I can say. He's good. Awesome. So, whatever you do, put your creator first and watch and see what you will do and how you will get through your day. Just put your creator first and see how your day will go. All right? Well, I'm encouraging you to be an influencer. People might have influenced you somewhere along the road, to where you are this day. Be an influencer, influence someone else, and watch yourself develop into a different character, the best of who you were created to be. Well, while you are doing this, do not be influenced by haters, covetous people who tell you bad things about other people. Because sometimes people talk some things, they say some things about people, and you know what? It's not the truth. People have said things about me and they don't even know me. It's amazing. People slept in my house for like one one week and they think they know so much about me. 1 week. What do you know about me in 1 week? Nothing much. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to do some more of matters of publishing next week, but it might be in a different way, right? I just wanted to let you know about some of the matters of publishing and the skills that we need. We'll talk about those, some of the skills that you need for that work. Next week, I said I will talk about influence, right? As a magnet, or I will just continue with matters of publishing, depending on the request that I receive. I receive so many people asking me, "Can you do something about, publishing and whatever it is?" And by the questions that they ask, I know I could put a title together and call it Matters of Publishing. Okay? So I'm good at doing that. All right. So hear this. It might not be as long today as it was last week or maybe other times, but please be encouraged to like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's keep this program growing for greater influence. Okay? You never know. You might be the next person I'll be talking to on this show. You might be the next person I will call and ask, would I be able to, can I have an interview with you, or can we have a discussion together on this program? All right. So it's matters of publishing. I will be looking for published authors, publishers, editors, creative writers, right, to speak to me, whether you have your business or you're just an entrepreneur, whether you have a big business or just an entrepreneur with a smaller business, or students or professors. Doesn't matter. So I will be looking out for you. I'm searching around. So if I'm in your YouTube, you know, searching around, I might be looking for you. Okay. So that's it. You might be the next person I'll be talking to. All right. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, and let's keep this program growing for greater influence. Do this by showing me what position of influence you hold. Okay? So when you do this, when you like, when you share, when you comment, when you subscribe, right? You will let me see what is your position of influence, or what position of influence you hold. Okay? All right. So for your coaching needs, please check the information section, the description section. There's information there that you can actually use to get in touch with me for coaching. I coach women in leadership. I mentor PhDs. I mentor students, university students, business and law, and I mentor leaders. So here I am, make myself available. All right. So whether it's one-on-one coaching that you need or group coaching, it doesn't really matter. Whether it's your corporation or individual or your community, whatever community it is, please let me know. Okay. Let me know how you like this program. I am waiting to hear from you, and I will see you next time. Remember, I am Yvette Johnston, and this was Matters of Publishing on Zobiba Published TV. No jokes today, okay? I'm a little bit more serious today, if you know what serious looks like. All right, so we will see you next time. Have a great and wonderful and productive day, and be good to yourself. It's just the matters of publishing, and we publish your way. Have a great day. Goodbye.